So we currently use the talking robot for the training machine for the deaf people.
Oh, really? Really?
Yes. Because the deaf people cannot listen to his own voice,
Right.
so they do not know how to move their, inner mouth motion.
Sure.
So
Sure.
their speech is quite unclear.
Right. Right.
So they need some training method to learn how to move inside mouth. But currently they don't have. There's nothing to teach the inner mouth motion to such people.
Hi.
So currently we apply this robot for the training of the articulatory motion inside mouth. So we sometimes bring that robot to the deaf school in Katakamatsu,
Hi.
so that the students learn how to move their inner mouth motion by imitating the robot inside mouth motion.
Oh, okay.
Yes, it's working in fact.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
it works quite good.
Sure. Sure.
And yes, the students are enjoying studying the articulatory motion with a robot.
Right. Right.
So,
it must be very exciting and interesting for them.
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
I work with a robot, and I
Yeah,
can do
right,
this.
right.
Yeah.
Yes, they're basically junior high students and high school students, and some guys are primary school
Sure.
pupil.
Sure.
So they enjoy moving the motion of the robot, and also the robot is able to reproduce the student's articulation by listening to their voice. Because the robot knows the relation between the voice and the articulatory motion.
Right.
So just listening to the pupil's unclear sound,
Right.
the robot reproduces their motion. And the robot teaches which part is not sufficient. They move
Right. Right.
by comparison with the clear sound with unclear sound
Right.
with the articulatory motion.
Okay.
So
So you've got this feedback loop, and then how does the deaf student
Yes.
experience the actual motion of the robot's mouth? Do
Yes.
they put their finger in it? Do they just watch?
Yes. In the basics training, teachers put the chopsticks or some bar inside the mouth so that they know which part they bring up or bring down to give a clear sound.
Okay. Okay.
It is quite messy, they say.
Of course. Of course.
They don't like it.
Sure.
So this is a traditional method.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
the robot, yes.
That's the traditional method, but
Yes.
when the student is working with the robot, how does the student kinesthetically
Yes.
get the feedback from the robot? Do they put
Yes.
the student's finger inside the mouth of the robot?
Yes.
Or,
Yes, of course they can. Of course they can.
okay.
They know which
how do
part,
they
yeah.
usually do it? Yeah.
Yes, they can touch the robot to know which part they should move inside the mouth by the comparison with the robot mouth. Just directly touching, or some watching and the touching.
Right. Right. Yeah. Well, watching is completely different from touching.
Yes,
if they put their finger in there and they can touch it, then it is linked kinesthetically to their brain, and they will learn so much faster, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is what I'm doing with the robot.
So you actually have use cases. You actually have done this several times and seen the
Yes,
results.
maybe about 5-6 times so far, maybe more, maybe 6-7 times so far in this 2 years. Yes.
Okay. Are there any other examples of actual use, or I mean that's fantastic, but anything else?
Not yet. Only training. I'm thinking of applying this to a kid's toy, so that to introduce speaking robot toy, but not yet.
Yeah.
Maybe I hope some toy company try to find interest in this robot to make it in a commercial.
Sure.
You know, we have some speaking machine with a speaker, so that I know the some toy speaks to kids with a speaker.
Right.
But our system is something like a real mouth, so that it articulate with its mouth.
Sure.
So I won't. I hope, but not yet.
Yeah, it would be difficult to commercialize because you need the air compressor, airflow.
Yes, right.
Lots of motor control.
Yes, but recently motors are quite cheap.
Yeah.
Especially for toys.
Right. Right.
Maybe for the articulation, we do not need such currently in my research we are using quite precise motors. But in the viewpoint of the toy, they don't need so much precision.
That's right.
Yeah, because for us, our control is not so, maybe our control of mouth is not so precise.
Right.
After the learning, so maybe for the robot they don't need just the toy motors will be enough.
Yeah, I think it's a similar case to like Digicam. Okay?
Yeah, Digicam,
so if you're doing a high-end photography or photography research, you want to have all the adjustments and all the controls.
That's right.
But for the consumer, especially for the really low-cost, like a camera that's in our cell phone or K-Time.
Yes.
What they do is basically they set up a set of basically like a state table. Okay, here are the basic conditions.
Yes.
And
Yes.
This is
right.
what 99% of the photos taken by this camera are going to be, and then they just limit it to that, and then they really shrink the size down to tiny.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you can simplify it for consumers.
Right.
And regarding for example, the air pump, maybe they don't need it. Just for example, bellows. I see. Bellows should be enough for kids' toy.
Right.
Just to push it and send the air.
Right.
And then it generates some vibration and the sounds.
Right.
So we can make it in a quite simple shape for toys.
Sure.
So maybe if for toys, it should not be so complex.
Right. Yeah, it needs a very attractive packaging. And
that's right.
Like that.
For kids.
Right.
Right. In fact, I have two kids, 7 years old and 5 years old.
Right.
They are quite curious on my research.
Sure. Oh, that's
great. Maybe kids like to have such moving toys to play with.
Yeah.
So
any kind of interaction where they can connect, and physically get involved, kinesthetically get involved with sound. People are primarily visual, auditory, and kinesthetic, and something like this connects in several different ways. You've got the visual, right? You've got the sound, the auditory, and the kinesthetic, right? If they can interact with it. So it should be very powerful if it's packaged.
Yes. This is I'm thinking of. So if you find some toy company to have interest in my system, please let me know.
Sure.